quick ad. With Time Twist, you get exciting, bizarre, and significant historical events delivered to your phone every single day. Enjoying this episode? There's so much more in the app. You'll find the link in the show notes. Let's get started.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take interesting sources and really unpack them for you, find those key insights.
Exactly.
So today we've got this audio piece, May 28, A Symphony of History. And, you might think, okay, one day, how much can happen? But diving into May 28th, wow.
It really is a surprising mix, isn't it? The sheer variety is what hits you first. We're talking big political changes, cultural moments, even these individual actions that somehow echoed much louder than you'd expect.
Absolutely. And it's global, too. Different continents, different eras. It's not just one type of event. We've got the fall of empires, birthdays of icons.
Right.
So our mission today really is to weave together this tapestry. What can just one date, May 28th, tell us about, the grand sweep of history?
Yeah, and those unexpected connections. Okay, so where should we start? Maybe with some of those big political shifts.
Good idea.
Well, one fairly recent one that stood out was Nepal, 2008. May 28th was the day the monarchy officially ended. Centuries of kings, gone, replaced by a republic.
That's huge. Imagine the feeling after, generations under royal rule. The audio even mentions cheers and fireworks in Kathmandu, a definite turning point.
Definitely. And then jumping back a bit to 1993, you've got this interesting pairing, Eritrea and Monaco, both joining the United Nations on May 28th.
What a contrast, right? Eritrea, brand new, just won its independence after a long, hard struggle.
Yeah.
And Monaco, this established principality, but they both take that step onto the world stage together. What does that sort of tell us?
It's a great point. Maybe it suggests that regardless of your history or size, there's this shared pull towards, global dialogue, being part of that international conversation.
Makes sense.
And if we go back even further, 1975, West Africa, 15 nations get together and form ECO as the Economic Community of West African States.
Ah, yes, ECOWAS. The idea was linking economies, making borders easier to cross, trying to build regional unity, ambitious stuff.
Very ambitious, aiming for economic growth, stability, all crucial things. Of course, it's had its challenges over the years, like any big project like that.
Sure, naturally. But it shows that drive for nations to work together. Okay, and then we have to talk about 1453, Constantinople.
A truly pivotal moment, the fall of the city. The sources mention the last Christian mass in the Hagia Sophia before it became a mosque.
But his story didn't stop there, did it? That building.
Not at all. It's incredible. Church, then mosque, then Ataturk turns it into a museum, and now, recently, back to being a mosque. It's like the building itself is a witness to these huge shifts in power, religion, empires.
A living record, almost, etched in stone. Amazing. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Yep. Cultural milestones, scientific achievements, also happening on May 28th.
Right. Like in Milan in 1999, they finally unveiled the restored Last Supper, Leonardo da Vinci's masterpiece.
After, 22 years of restoration work?
22 years. Yeah. Think about the centuries of damage fading, and then this incredibly meticulous, loving work to bring it back. It says a lot about how much we value these cultural treasures.
It really does. The dedication is incredible. And then you jump to San Francisco, 1937. The Golden Gate Bridge opens.
That iconic structure, that red-orange against the blue sky, or often the fog.
Huh, true. But think about the timing, the Great Depression. Building something that massive, that ambitious during such hard times, it must have been a huge symbol of hope, right?
Absolutely. A symbol of, what humans could achieve even when things looked bleak. Engineering marvel, but also something more psychologically.
Yeah, definitely. And then something that starts much smaller but grows huge.
Yeah.
1961, Peter Benenson publishes an article, The Forgotten Prisoners.
And that single article sparks the founding of Amnesty International.
It's incredible, isn't it? The power of just words. One person highlighting an injustice.
It really is. It shows how advocacy can start small, but build into this global force. Taking on powerful states, fighting for human rights, all starting from that one moment of someone speaking out.
Now, May 28th isn't all positive milestones. There are darker moments, conflicts, tragedies.
Unfortunately, yes. Like in 1998, Pakistan conducting 5 nuclear tests. This was just after India had done its own tests.
A major escalation in South Asia. Suddenly, the threat of nuclear weapons in that region felt very, very real again. Sent ripples around the world.
It did. A real moment of global tension. And then a different kind of tragedy, nature's power. Neftogorsk, Russia, 1995.
Oh, that earthquake. Devastating. Took what, 2,000 lives?
Around that, yes. Just wipe the town out. It's a stark reminder, isn't it, how vulnerable we are to these massive natural forces.
Absolutely sobering. These events really stick with you. They remind us we're not always in control.
No, we're not. And shifting again to a specific conflict, the Falklands War, 1982. May 28th saw the British victory at Goose Green.
Right. The source mentioned the soldiers' grit. Why was that battle so significant in the larger war?
Well, militarily, it was a tough fight, but a key win for the British. It really boosted morale back home and on the ground, and it kind of shifted the momentum, showed they could take and hold ground. It was seen as a real turning point.
Okay, I see. So specific battles can have those wider ripple effects. Now let's talk about some individual actions that had, well, unexpected consequences.
Yeah.
Matthias Rust in 1987.
Oh, that story's wild. A teenager from West Germany flies a little Cessna.
All the way through Soviet air defenses.
And lands it right next to Red Square in Moscow. Unbelievable. Just said he wanted to promote peace.
It sounds like fiction. But it actually had consequences, didn't it?
It really did. Embarrassed the Soviet military hugely. Led to dismissals at the top, including the defense minister. Some people even say it sort of loosened things up a bit, maybe helped pave the way for Gorbachev's reforms later. A kid in a plane.
Just goes to show you never know what impact an action might have. And speaking of individuals, May 28th is the birthday of quite a few notable people.
Yeah, a really diverse list. You've got Kylie Minogue, pop superstar.
Patrick White, the Australian novelist, first Aussie Nobel laureate for literature.
Ian Fleming, James Bond's creator.
Can't forget him. Jerry West, the basketball legend, his silhouette is the NBA logo.
That's right. And Maeve Binchy, the Irish author, known for those warm, engaging stories.
Quite a lineup. Music, literature, spies, sports, storytelling, all sharing the same birthday. Shows how much talent can emerge across different fields.
Definitely. And then there are just some intriguing, maybe unusual events tied to May 28th.
Like the Dion quintuplets, born in Canada in 1934. The first set of 5 identical siblings known to survive infancy.
And the world went crazy for them. It became this huge media sensation, but also quite a complicated and sometimes sad story for the girls themselves. Raised questions about exploitation, privacy.
Yeah, a really unique situation. And then finding a piece of history. The USS Monitor, the Civil War ironclad, discovered off the coast in 1987.
Wow, finding something like that resting on the seabed after all those years. It connects you directly back to that historical period.
It does. Oh, and for motorsport fans, the very first Isle of Man TT race was held on May 28th, 1907.
The start of something legendary and incredibly dangerous. But it speaks to that human drive to push limits, test machines, and skill.
Absolutely. And, well, on a different note, who remembers Mark Sanford's hiking trip back in 2009?
Yeah.
That whole political drama unfolded around this time, and the phrase hiking the Appalachian Trail became infamous.
Ha, yes. A modern political euphemism was born. And you mentioned Edward Livingston earlier. The source had the death date wrong, it seems. It was 1836, not 1972.
Right, thanks for clarifying. But yeah, him being a key figure in law and politics back then, another layer to the day's history. Lawyer, statesman, reformer.
So, when you pull it all together, Nepal becoming a republic, the Last Supper being revealed, nuclear tests, a teenager landing in Red Square, the Golden Gate opening, all on May 28th across the years.
It's kind of staggering, isn't it? The sheer breadth of human experience packed into one single date on the calendar.
It really is. You see these threads of political change, artistic creation, conflict, tragedy, individual impact. It's all woven together.
It makes you realize that history isn't just something in books. It's constantly unfolding day by day. These seemingly separate events, they do connect. They form this bigger narrative.
And it makes you wonder, doesn't it, about today or tomorrow, which seemingly ordinary moments happening right now might end up being part of the story future generations look back on for this date.
That's a fascinating thought to end on. Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the rich and surprisingly varied history of May 28th.